In the shadows of forgotten asylums, thousands of souls met their untimely end. But death was only the beginning. These institutions are now infamous for their paranormal activity, with countless reports of ghostly encounters, disembodied voices, and eerie apparitions that defy explanation. Asylums, once seen as places of refuge for society's most vulnerable, have become synonymous with fear and mystery. Over the years, these decaying buildings have attracted the attention of both historians and paranormal investigators, drawn by their dark history and the countless reports of ghostly phenomena. In this documentary, we'll journey into the heart of some of the most notorious asylums, uncovering the haunted past that still lingers within their walls. From the horrors of their history to the spine-chilling experiences of those who have dared to explore them, these places hold a significance that goes beyond the physical world. Asylums were established in the 19th and early 20th centuries, with the intention of providing care for those suffering from mental illnesses. However, the reality was far more grim. Overcrowding, inhumane treatment methods, and a lack of understanding of mental health led to the suffering, and in many cases, the death of countless patients. Infamous cases, such as the tragic fate of the patients at Pennhurst State School and Hospital in Pennsylvania, or the cruel practices at Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum in West Virginia, have cemented these locations in history as places of horror. The suffering endured within these walls has left a mark, leading many to believe that the spirits of those who perished remain trapped, unable to find peace. One of the most infamous asylums in the United States is the Waverly Hills Sanatorium in Louisville, Kentucky. Originally built to treat tuberculosis patients in the early 1900s, Waverly Hills quickly gained a reputation as a place of suffering and death. It's estimated that over 63,000 people died within its walls, and many believe that some of these souls still linger. Ghost hunters who have investigated Waverly Hills report hearing phantom footsteps, disembodied voices, and even seeing shadowy figures moving through the halls. One of the most chilling stories is that of room 502, where a nurse reportedly took her own life. Those who have spent time in this room have experienced a deep sense of dread, and some have claimed to see the nurse's spirit hanging from the ceiling. Another notorious location is the Pennhurst State School and Hospital, located in Spring City, Pennsylvania. Initially opened in 1908 as a facility for the mentally and physically disabled, Pennhurst quickly became overcrowded and understaffed. The conditions were horrific, with patients often subjected to abuse and neglect. After the facility was closed in 1987, reports of paranormal activity began to surface. Ghost hunters visiting Pennhurst have recorded eerie voices, unexplained cold spots, and even physical contact from unseen forces. One of the most disturbing areas is the underground tunnels, where many patients were kept in isolation. Investigators have reported hearing cries for help and seeing shadowy figures lurking in the darkness. At the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum in Weston, West Virginia, the echoes of the past are impossible to ignore. Built in the mid-1800s, this massive facility was intended to house just 250 patients, but quickly became overcrowded, with over 2,400 patients at its peak. The conditions were deplorable, and many patients suffered horribly before meeting their end. Today, the asylum is a hotspot for ghost hunters, who have documented countless paranormal events. Among the most famous is the spirit of a young girl named Lily, who is said to haunt one of the rooms. Visitors have reported hearing her giggles and seeing objects move on their own. The asylum's Civil War-era section is also a focal point of activity, with sightings of ghostly soldiers and the sounds of distant gunfire echoing through the halls. Ghost hunters exploring these asylums face numerous challenges. Skepticism from the public often casts doubt on their findings, with many questioning the validity of their experiences. The physical dangers of exploring abandoned buildings, where the structure may be unstable, and the air filled with hazardous materials, add to the risk. Additionally, the ethical dilemma of investigating sites where so much suffering occurred weighs heavily on many investigators. How does one respect the history and memory of the individuals who lived and died in these places while seeking evidence of the paranormal? Despite these challenges, many ghost hunters and historians are dedicated to preserving these sites and documenting the paranormal phenomena within them. Through careful research and respectful investigation, they aim to shed light on the stories of those who once lived in these asylums, ensuring that their memories are not forgotten. Efforts to preserve these buildings, such as turning them into museums or historical landmarks, help keep their stories alive while allowing the public to learn about the dark chapters of history that unfolded within their walls. By doing so, these investigators hope to bring closure to the spirits believed to be trapped there and offer a deeper understanding of the connection between history and the supernatural. The investigations into these haunted asylums have provided us with a unique perspective on both history and the paranormal. While the stories of ghostly encounters continue to captivate us, they also serve as a reminder of the human suffering that took place within these walls. These asylums remain significant not just as sites of paranormal interest, but as historical landmarks that offer insight into the treatment of mental illness and the evolution of our understanding of the human mind. If you're intrigued by these stories, consider exploring the history of asylums and their paranormal reputations further. There are countless documentaries, books, and first-hand accounts that delve into these haunted places. And if you dare, you might even visit one of these locations yourself. Be sure to check out our other videos on famous ghost hunts and the dark history of mental health treatment. Remember, the past is never truly gone. Sometimes it's just waiting to be discovered.